I'm here today with Nathan Barnes, first-time author of his exciting new book titled Head Home. I'm going to ask you 5 questions that capture your book. So tell me, Nathan, what were your reasons for writing the book?
Hi Rudy, and thanks for having me on your show. Early 2010 for me, I was in a long black tunnel with not much light at the end of it. I decided to go away on a 2-week vacation to Thailand, and one day I was walking along a beach and I stopped at a random cafe just to have a drink. And I struck up a conversation with a guy that reminded me much of a guru. He had long silver hair, a bit of a goatee, and bright eyes. As we're sitting there over a couple of beers, he told me about his life adventures and spending time with the Hopi Indians in North America. As I sat there listening to him, he said something to me that I'll never forget. He said, "Nathan, I have a fight going on deep inside me. It's a great fight between two wolves. One is evil, one is good. The evil one is full of anger, hatred, violence, resentment, superiority, ego. The good is full of joy, love, peace, hope, kindness, compassion, and empathy." And after a moment, he said the most profound thing to me. He said, "We all have this fight going on inside us." I remember looking out across the water to the horizon, and I pondered it for a minute. And I turned to him and said, "Well, which wolf's going to win?" And he simply turned to me and he said, "The one you feed." And I'll never forget this, because in that moment, I literally felt a door open for me. After 20 years of going for a fight, my own battle, struggling, pushing people away, including my family, blaming them, abusing them, pushing, lovers and partners away and good friends, I finally realised in that moment, on that beach with a random stranger, that the only real fight we ever come across in life is the fight that's within us. And that's exactly why I'm writing this book today.
You have experienced violence and bullying yourself. Can you talk further about what is causing the dramatic increases in violent behaviours?
1 in 3 women globally are victims of male partner violence. It is a worldwide problem that is affecting all of us. It is a problem that requires a fresh perspective, and a good place to start is our own childhoods. An example of that would be my own childhood. We don't know what we're signing on for when we come into this life. And why I say that is that our early conditionings and beliefs of how to be a man or woman and how to act as a man or woman come from the generations before. I wasn't to know that my father and his father, which is my grandfather, were both subjected to abuse and behaviours that no child should ever see. So on one hand, there's my father carrying that. And then on the other side, my father naturally taught me that men aren't supposed to show emotion or feeling, because that's all he knew. They're not supposed to cry, because that's all he was taught. They're supposed to be tough and strong, which is the way it was. But what that causes is a split a divide from our natural state of being, our state of wholeness, which we all, I believe, we all come here into this life with, ready equipped with everything we need. By the tender age of 7 years of age, I was already showing dysfunctional behaviours, such as bedwetting, severe nightmares, teeth grinding. And this come from seeing my father get angry, become enraged, drunken behaviours, dysfunctional behaviours and abuses in my family environment, my family home. By the time I'd reached high school, at the age of 12, 13 years of age, my mental health and dysfunctional behaviours were so evident that I was bashed and bullied most days of my school life. The point I really want to make is that I had already become divided. There was a split from my natural state of being. The seeds had been laid for another generational cycle to go on repeating itself.
And Nathan, how significant were the recurring dreams you had as a child in relation to the writing of the book?
Their significance first come into my life when I was in my late teens. That's when I first got out the pen and notebook and began writing down what I'd seen in these dreams as a young man or a young boy. And they came in the form of pictures and symbols and memories and right down to smells, until I could create a jigsaw puzzle of what their significance and meaning meant for me. At the beginning of my book, there's a chapter called The Dreaming, and it's a capturing of the world I believe we all come from before we enter this physical life. It is a place that I now refer to as home, and it houses our unconditional natures and our unconditional selves. Even in my darkest times, my most difficult times, like a shadow, I always felt there was something there guiding me, making the correct choices for me, but I couldn't quite understand why. And I think it's a place that we need to go to, a place within that we need to put a lot more emphasis on and try and understand. And through this chapter and the significance of what I saw in these early dreams and the meaning that I got from there, I hope to share with my readers. An example of that I could use is that inside our bodies, if we could actually take a moment to look inside and see what's in there, is a world that is the complete reflection of the world we see before us. Now we have an internal sun, solar plexus, right there. It expresses our energy inside and outside to the world every single moment. We have a heart that beats by itself. We're not doing it consciously. Something is keeping it beating, distributing the blood around our body evenly so that we may function perfectly. Right down to fertile ground, which is right down there where the emotions and the energy start and run up the inside of our trunk, which looks like a trunk. It's they call it a spine. And then the canopy, the tree canopy, which is our lungs, that distributes the air that we take from the outside trees, which is giving us oxygen, and then we then give it carbon dioxide back. It's a reciprocal relationship, and we can learn so much from that. So much from that about how we function and how our inner world is a perfect reflection of our outer world, and what functions in the outer world functions in the inner world. A time came in my life where I understood that these weren't the dreams. They were actually my own nature, my inner self, guiding me, communicating with me, and almost telling me that the nightmare, that I call it, the life that I was living, I needed to wake from.
What audience is your book written for?
When I first began to write my book, I said to myself, what do I want to give my readers, my audience? The first thing that came to my mind was I want to give people back to themselves. I want to empower people, give people a chance, an opportunity to be. The great crime against man, woman, humanity really, is from an early age they are conditioned, almost controlled to be and act. And that comes through conditionings, false beliefs, opinions, thoughts from their environment, from religion, from culture and family. If you take family violence as an example, the meaning of family violence is a man, for example, has created a fearful environment for a woman and child to live in. What I also see is for that to happen, for a man to do that, he would have to be coming from a state of fear himself. And we need to start looking at that. And once again, it's a reflection. To create a fearful environment, you must be coming from a fearful state yourself. How that's come about is that the conditionings and divisions within man that I've just spoken about, the conflict, the fear within him, is creating the conflict that we are now seeing in family homes, our communities, society, and the world as a whole. I'm writing this book for the man out there that is not proud of his behaviours and wants to be a better human being. The man that wants to empower himself to do that. A man who wants to be a better husband, a better partner, a better father, a role model. For the woman who's fed up from living from fear and wants to start living from love, her whole being. For the woman who's tired of carrying the dead weight of emotional baggage through life, wants to let go. People are ready to stop avoiding themselves. The world is ready for that. They want to reconnect with themselves so that they can become better beings.
It is a powerful book titled Head Home. Could this be the key message for the readers?
The two key messages I hope my readers get from my title, Head Home, will be, first of all, that they are not necessarily their self-defeating thoughts and conditionings, false beliefs and even ego that they think they might be. By sharing my story with them, they begin to feel and sense what is already within themselves. In some cases, there might be a small shift. In other cases, there might be a transformation, a complete change. Secondly, in their physical homes, where their families and wives, their mums and dads are, there's damage might have been done, and healing needs to occur. When I came home to myself, to that place of being, the first thing I did was I went home to my family, who I'd blamed and pointed the finger at for years. And after doing so, an incredible thing occurred. I helped liberate them to do the same, to make change. And together, we broke the generational cycle that just continually goes around and around, repeating itself, causing the destructive and senseless chaos we see every day in the world. Change starts with cultivating your own heart in your own character, and then occurs in the family. And together we can go out into the world and make big changes. Just in finishing, I'd like to say that I've referenced in the book that when the man first approached me, like a shadow, he was always there, always close by. He was there in childhood, he was there as I was growing into an adult. I never really saw what he looked like. I never really heard a word he said. Until the day came when I was ready to meet myself. Thank you.